Welcome to the ATS Show, the informative show around applicant tracking systems. My name is Liesbet De Rouck and I'm your host of the show. Today we're talking with John-Erik Hassel from Varbi. He's chairman of the board and used to be the CEO.
Thank you very much, Liesbet, for inviting us to the show.
Super cool to have you here, John. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
So my name is John-Erik Hassel. I'm a Swede living in Norway since about 25 years, apart from a couple of years abroad. I have a wife, two teenage kids. I've been working with HR and recruitment for a long time. I started a recruitment agency together with a colleague back in 2004. And from there, we started working with recruitment with a lot of focus on transparency in the interview processes, the dual respect between the employer-employee dialogue, where there was a chance to communicate well between employer-employee. And all these things we wanted to put into an ATS, and we started looking for an ATS that we could work with. Unfortunately, there was none that had the opportunity of communicating with SMS, MSN, Messenger, and things like this. And we started to draw the outlines of Varbi. And that was how we founded Varbi in 2007. So I've been working with HR and recruitment for a long time. And when we started Varbi, that's a company that has become really close to my heart. And since I left as a CEO in 2011, I've been working as chairman of the board of the company.
Wow, that's an impressive track record, and also really nice to hear how the founding of an ATS has happened. That's cool. So tell us, Varbi is active in which countries now? Available in which languages? Do you have a certain niche industry where you're appealing for clients?
Yeah, Varbi is an ATS tool. We have approximately 1.5 million applications running through the system every year, and this comes from about 600 clients in 10 countries. We have offices in Norway, where I live. We opened up recently in Bergen. We have our head office in Sweden. We have also a satellite office in Stockholm. We have a small office in the United States, and also we have an office in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, we also work together with Centric, who's a partner on corporate recruiting, especially for us. And when we're looking at niches, we are strong in government agencies, authorities, faculty recruitment, higher education, municipal offices, and also actually corporate recruiting, all the way from smaller companies up to companies with and organizations with more tens of thousands of employees.
That's an impressive road. And when were you when have you founded Varbi?
Varbi was founded in 2007, and it was the recruitment agency that we ran at the time needed some sort of technology to work with the communication between us and our candidates. And what we found was that younger academics, they wanted to use social media, the phone, and applications that was quicker and faster in their communication. And that was the reason that we invented something we call dialogue recruitment, as I was talking a little bit about in the beginning. This was a reason for Varbi that we started working on the Varbi project, that we didn't really find a system that could allow all these things in an ATS. So that is more or less why the company was founded in 2007. And the recruitment agency was acquired a couple of years later, and the focus became more and more on the technology solution which Varbi was created around.
Wow, impressive! Nice. This. I'm really enjoying the background of the story of Varbi. So to maybe do something you haven't been doing very recent is pitching Varbi. So here you go, 120 seconds. Over to you.
So, pitching Varbi Recruit in 120 seconds, I'm going to go through a couple of slides. We are a Scandinavian ATS supplier. Yeah, we were founded in 2007, as we talked about, and as of today, it's about 50,000 recruiters and managers that are working in the system. We have been very innovative and working very hard on technological solutions that gave the opportunity of making it easier to work with recruitment, both between, of course, between employer and employee, and in the communication between the two. So we're actually the first ATS in the world with an automated integration to LinkedIn, the job slots at LinkedIn. We were also the first European ATS with fast applications drawn from Indeed. You were asking before a little bit about who we were working with, and I mentioned government agencies and authorities and higher education. What we call faculty recruiting is really a big stronghold for us. We also are big in corporate recruiting, and especially, as I mentioned, that we work with Centric as a partner. We focus on corporate recruiting together with their System Motion Journey solution. So in the Netherlands, we have customers like NOS, Ripstar, Brink Towing Systems, etc. So we were asked to talk about a special strength about a solution today, and I would like to bring up something that is very important to us, and that is inclusivity, accessibility, and user-friendliness. What we mean by that is that we take the whole organization perspective. We're a manager-adapted system that makes it possible for everybody in an organization to work with HR and with recruitment. We also, since we began building the system, focused on having a research-based recruitment process, where we are building a system that has a structure and a standardized workflow, and allows users that don't know everything about recruitment to also start working in the system. When it comes to making a system inclusive, it's not only about making it work well for non-educated recruiters like managers. We also look into people, for example, with disabilities. And now I'm talking more or less both on the side of working with the system, but also applying for jobs. What we see is important, let's say for a person that has that are visually impaired. It's very important to be able to use technology the best way possible, and we have a AA rating in the EU Web Accessibility Directive. And the last thing that I want to mention is the stronghold we have within faculty recruitment and government agencies makes us having a very high focus on IT security and GDPR in our system.
How did you predict the future like that?
Yeah, we were working, as I said, we were coming from a recruiting agency background, and we saw many of these things early on in many of our recruitment processes, that we needed to both include people into a process which could feel that they are feeling shut out from. We also found that the communication between people, especially between young people and employees, changed a bit especially where we were working in Norway. We noticed again shorter communication lines. Not as often people were bringing a CV into to the interview. They just showed up and they wanted to talk about a job situation. And these things change the whole way of communicating. And as we know with social media, we see that young people today have a totally different way of communicating than what we older people are used to, and this have to be, of course, included in the ATS as well.
So, and what exactly do you then include in the ATS? Is it SMS services or chat functionality, or how can I see that? From early on we had almost like a social media communication platform built into the system, where it was possible to pick up the line, so to say, to people that they were interested in hiring, or
people that was looking for a job could actually contact the employer directly. Now this has of course changed a bit since GDPR, so we are not doing it that way anymore. But in the whole system, there is a simpler way of communicating between candidates and employers than what we were seeing in the market at that time, especially.
Super interesting, John, what you're doing on the candidate side. Very impressive. And is there an example of how you also develop your tool around being inclusive, or develop the software around being inclusive?
Yes. We had a great guy, Niklas. He's visually impaired, working for us, testing the system as a user, both candidate user and recruiter, in order for us to see where we have things that we need to improve all the time, which is really great.
That's real forward thinking. So let's move on to the next section. So we're going to do a couple of questions. So Q1. Is your ATS an off-the-shelf product, or is it fully customizable, or somewhere in between?
Yeah, I'll have to answer is somewhere in between. We have a standard system, a standard solution that is, of course, easy to implement on a very short time. But we also, of course, have a lot of different add-ons and modules that is possible to add, especially for larger organizations like, of course, then universities or government agencies and so on. That is so it's possible to customize in very many different ways.
Okay, nice. Second question. Are you an all functionality in-house, or do you have a big marketplace with other tooling that you integrate with?
We started building the system, a comprehensive system, where we were focusing on doing everything ourselves to have kind of the ownership of the whole process. But after a while, we found that there are so many great plugins. There are really top of the shelf product that we would like to have as add-ons. So we started to integrating that into the system as well. One, for example, is a Dutch company, Flipbase, that is adding on our the video CV to our tool, which is a great thing that we can do that for our customers.
Nice. So, next question. Is there a career site included, or go and build your own?
No, there is a career site module that you can add on to the ATS, where you also have administrative back system where you can do your adjustments and customize it to the way that you want it.
Okay, nice. I like the double functionality, or the both options. Then a little bit more about the support team. So as recruiters, we always have like an issue here, something's stuck, something's not working. So how do we reach out to your support team? Do you have an online ticketing system, or do you have the old-fashioned people who are answering the phone?
We actually treasure the time we have to speak to our customers. This is really important, I think. As long as our customer care team is doing a better job than the chatbots and AI solutions that we can add to the system, I think we will stick with the people. There is actually one thing that we have to mention here, because if we're trying to move away the person-to-person communication, we're losing quite a bit of our DNA. Varbi is very much a company that are focused on meaningful relationships, and I talked about before. And I must say that AI and chatbots and so on, we are looking into it, we're working with it, we're having lots of things that we can add that generates good things in the system. But when it comes to the person-to-person communication, that would probably be the last thing that we let technology take over.
I like that. I like the approach. So the fifth question, what can we expect the coming years? Is there anything that's going to blow us away, or what do you think?
We grow fast, and we have a great team behind this tool. And we are growing internationally. I mentioned to you that we already have offices outside of Sweden and Norway, of course. And you will see us in more international markets in the years to come, and especially where we have a stronghold, which I mentioned before, in faculty recruitment, higher education. We are dominant in Sweden in this area, and we see that internationally universities and colleges are opening up their eyes for us, and we are moving together with them in new markets. So we will definitely be seen in many places in years to come. In Holland, for example, where we work with Centric, we have a stronghold in corporate recruiting, and we will continue working with that as well. So I must say that we have a great team, we have a great product, and we will continue working as we've done for many years, improving and becoming as good as we can, and that would probably make you see us even more.
Thank you very much, John, for this interesting interview around the background of Varbi and really the backbones, apparently. And the backbones that are super hot in this recruitment market right now. So I'm really keen to see where Varbi is going. Do you want to say a last goodbye?
Yeah, thank you very much for having us at the show, and it was great talking to you.
Thank you very much. In the next few months, we're going to be talking with smart recruiters and also Talentsoft. I'm not sure in which order, but we'll figure that out. And for more informative videos around recruitment software, go to recruitmenttech.com. Bye.